What is up YouTube, it's Kingfisher745, and in this video we're finally going to look at Moon Knight and his new ISO. So that's going to be E-ISO and his custom A-ISO. We're going to basically look at what they do and how much better they make him. So is he greatly improved or not? Now the first thing we're going to look at is his single character specific E-ISO, and that's the reprising Iso-8. It can be found in Season 2, Chapter 9, Mission 5. It causes Moon Knight to gain 1 retribution when anyone attacks, with the exception to Crescent Darts. Now, I probably don't need to tell you this, but it is huge. It makes a massive difference. And it actually was the last thing I needed to get for him, so that's why it took me a while to cover him. Although I originally wanted to do it at least a month ago, probably. Anyways though, the cool thing besides that is there are new E-ISO out, and I actually gave him Tactician's battle plans. It sounded like it would go really nicely with the other ISO. Basically, he's going to start combat with tactical tendency, meaning when he attacks, he'll get an extra turn. I'm thinking he's going to be a beast with all this stuff. Then for his first A-ISO, it's on his level 1, the Fractured Augmented Iso-8. So it's for Fist of Khonshu, and it causes it to gain exploits bleeds. That one can be found in Season 2, Chapter 6, Mission 2. Then for his final custom ISO, the Circumscribed A-ISO-8. This is for his Crescent Darts. It causes them to apply flanked, which is pretty phenomenal, especially on this ability. You see, it grants an extra turn while affected by retribution, and consumes 1 retribution, meaning you can throw this multiple times, especially coupled with that E-ISO he has. And this one can be found in Season 2, Chapter 10, Mission 4. Now, we had an idea to use Moon Knight and the Generalist Flight Suit, which I think is going to work out quite well. Now, the first team they gave us has Rocket Raccoon and Spider-Man Noir. And yeah, this team can be somewhat scary, but the fact that they're going to attack so much means tons of retribution. If the AI was capable of being afraid, I think that seeing Moon Knight against his team would trigger that. Now he is going to end up attacking first, and he starts out as a scrapper. Now this obviously can change, but in this case, I'll definitely take that follow-up attack. He also has a chance to start out as an infiltrator, of course, and that stealthy option really can come in handy. We obviously don't really need that tactician option to kick in, but that could work as well. Still though, a follow-up attack and tactical tendency. As soon as we finally get to land these hits, we should be doing pretty well. Fortunately, the enemy team isn't doing that much damage, outside of Spider-Man Noir's final 2 hits. And since we start with that Blood Moon, we cause a lot of bleeding and hemorrhaging. Then we're going to follow that up with another Feral Frenzy. So not great that they had the Elite E-ISO, but it's going to work out, even though they're absorbing like crazy. We still have them below 50% health, and Cloak and Dagger are going to join in. They end up actually triggering their own extra turn, and with that they decide to attack with the Dark Energy Blade. This causes a ton of bleed damage. And I know this is absolutely insane, but we also end up hitting with our own Feral Frenzy, and that finishes them off. So with 8 retribution stacks to just about begin this fight, we can unleash our level 1 Fist of Khonshu, just about knocking out anyone. Don't get me wrong, many of these hits can miss, and there are ways to try to guarantee that they do hit. But we're really not going to worry about that for now. We're just going to unleash, and as long as we land most of them, we should be good. Since Spider-Man Noir is up next, we go off on him. And with our follow-up attack, he is going to be knocked out. So not too bad. The only thing is I really wanted to try out World's Finest and giving Moon Knight Finest Hour. Could you imagine him then? It should get pretty crazy. That's why I'm deciding to call in the suit right away, but unfortunately we can't use anything. So we just have to recharge. That might end up costing us the opportunity in this first fight, but that's okay, Moon Knight still shines. In fact, after this blam blam blam, he's going to let Rocket have it with the Feral Frenzy. So pretty decent hit, and then even Cloak and Dagger are going to hit him as well. So once again on Moon Knight's turn, he has 6 retribution stacks, not too bad. And we'll go back to his level 1. this should fairly easily knock Rocket out. So there you have it, another pretty decent knockout from Moon Knight. Now the E-ISO is certainly the most important thing to get for him. If you're going to get any of his custom ISO, that is the one you need to farm. After that, the Circumscribe certainly comes in handy. You can really set up some special teams and attacks around that Crescent Darts and flanked. There's no question. Then finally, the Fractured of course helps out as level 1 to do even more damage. And you saw all the bleeding that he can cause. In this second matchup, we're facing a 40-some thousand health team that has Phaser and Cloak and Dagger. Very annoying. And with my agent, we're going to begin with the Blackest Void. I would have loved to jump in the flight suit, but we needed to use that. Then yes, Cloak and Dagger do tend to go after Moon Knight for some reason. He is an infiltrator right now, so maybe that pushed them. But since he's an infiltrator as well, we can go stealthy, then use our Blood Moon, and we'll get our extra turn because of tactical tendency. So for example, we could throw a Crescent Dart, make sure to flank her, and pretty much just have a lot of fun with this. If you're wondering why we followed that up, it was because we actually already did flank her with our level 9, the Mauling A-ISO on it. And yes, that makes for some crazy attacking with Crescent Darts. Just another thing you could do with Moon Knight. Now Phaser's pretty close to being knocked out, but she still is in it, and Moon Knight's quite hurt, so we have to worry about that a bit. So on Cloak and Dagger's turn, we're going to use Pitch Black, and that will end up knocking Excalibur out. So at least we got rid of some of our problem. Then on my agent's turn, well, we can jump into the flight suit, and Moon Knight's going to be back to full health. So there goes that issue. We're also going to go ahead and make sure he gets buffed this time. But when I went to attack, it didn't seem that impressive. He ends up only having 4 stacks of Retribution, World's Finest, but none of the Finest Hour buffs. So that was pretty unfortunate. So maybe next time, but for now, we're just going to have to do a regular attack. And since he is a scrapper, we could attack Cloak and Dagger. So that's ultimately what we're going to do. We'll use Blood Moon, cause that bleeding, and then we'll also get Feral Frenzy. Now on the enemy agent's turn, they're going to use the Metaphysical Rifle on my agent. And so that's pretty much the end of that. With Cloak and Dagger, we'll use Quick Reflexes, then Child of Light, and we'll try to knock someone out, so let's use a Shot in the Dark. Cloak and Dagger, though, managed to hang on. I'm going to be honest, a lot of times with this team, at least when I was using them, the matches are extremely quick. This one's taking a little bit longer. But still, Cloak and Dagger are definitely going to be knocked out. In fact, they trigger their own bleeding, and down they go. So to Moon Knight for what should be the final turn. We get an extra turn just in case we need it. And then we're going to use our level 1. So here's the Fist of Khonshu. And as you can see, pretty decent numbers, and they certainly add up to a lot. So that's going to be another win in the books. Now for the final match, it's going to be another very high health Phaser team, and Cloak and Dagger. So another decent challenge. Since our Cloak and Dagger go first, we start with our Blackout. Then unfortunately, Phaser's going to go next. 100% of the time she uses Triage. So after using Long Haul, that's exactly what she does. Depending on what the enemy team ends up with, I'll usually use the Blackest Void here. But since we really want to call in those buffs and see Moon Knight in action, I'm going to suit up instead. Then use Invigorating Charge. So yeah, this may not be typically what I would do, but I was really trying to get him some hits in. Then the enemy agent also jumps into a flight suit. That I didn't see coming. He actually used Rally Beacon, which I wasn't too sure about at the time. But it actually grants all allies rising up, recuperation, regeneration, heal, and a shield. Now that shield is actually going to end up cutting down our attack. So when it finally got around to Moon Knight's turn, well, I also got to use Fog of War, which causes Intimidated, Cower, and Broken Will. So reducing attack even if I get the attack off. Well, that is if we didn't have Warding Essence, so we do have 7 stacks of Retribution, and we have World's Finest and a few buffs. So I figured, well, since we get to attack twice, let's go ahead and start with our level 9. I pretty much thought about hitting everyone on their team. And then ultimately, I'm going to settle on Phasa. That's typically who I knock out first. So we'll use our level 9 on her. Because of her shield, it cuts down the damage a lot. But then, we'll use our Fist of Khonshu. And as you can see, it misses a few times, but there's a 9k, a 12k hit, and so on. Certainly enough to take her down. I'm just going to tell you right now, Cloak and Dagger are going to knock out this team like nothing else. And I figured, hey, mission accomplished, so let's let him do it. As for Moon Knight, I certainly think his ISO will help him out. He actually is a ton of fun to use. And that E-ISO especially is a must-have. But that is going to be it for this one, so I want to thank you all for watching. Ask you please like, comment, and subscribe. Then until next time, good luck and take care.